All right, let's go. Good morning and welcome. I'll call this the first meeting of the Interim Joint Budget Review Subcommittee on Education to order. We're going to start with a prayer and a pledge. So Co-Chair Riley from way over there is going to pray for us, and then Co-Chair Banta, where did she go? She's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So please stand.
May we pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here today and the health and to be at this opportunity today. Dear Heavenly Father, please grant us wisdom and discernment in our roles as state representatives and state senators, because our job is difficult and we all really want to do what we feel is right for the Commonwealth. And please give us that guidance. Dear Heavenly Father, in our country right now, with all the hate and divisiveness, please soften our hearts, that we will listen to others, and that we will be kind to others, and that we will try to work with people to make this the country that it needs to be. Be with all of us as we go through our daily lives. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call.
Senator Neal, Senator West, Representative Baker,
Here.
Representative Bojanowski,
Here.
Representative Bowling, Representative Brown,
Here.
Representative Kleins,
Here.
Representative Truitt,
Here.
Senator Bledsoe, Senator McDaniel, Representative Bray, Representative Petrie, Representative Lewis,
Here.
Representative McCool,
Here.
Representative Tipton,
Here.
Representative Banta,
Present.
Representative Riley, Chair Rawlings.
Here. All right, the DEI legislation's effective date was June 27th, so it's just over a couple of weeks ago. So this is a timely opportunity for the universities to relay how your institution is now complying with House Bill 4 and President Trump's executive order. This is a budget review meeting, so there should also be a focus on financials and the economics of complying with and resulting from House Bill 4. A goal of this hearing is to ensure that we make every effort to end discrimination, promote academic freedom, and to make sure all Kentucky students have the equal opportunity to pursue higher education. We should celebrate institutional and viewpoint neutrality. So several of the universities responded that they had adopted a policy of viewpoint neutrality, and I was glad to see that. And the first one up who has done that is EKU. So Eastern, would you please step forward? And introduce yourselves and hit the little button.
Good morning, Chairman Rawlings, Co-Chair Banta, Co-Chair Riley. We are so pleased to be here today. We love to take the opportunity at any time to talk about EKU, our students, and our programs. So thank you for this opportunity. With me today, my role at EKU is the Chief Government Relations Officer, and I have Dana Full with me, who is our VP of Compliance and General Counsel. And Dana's team, very small team, has done a great deal of work and excellent work to make sure that we're meeting the deadlines associated with House Bill 4 and in full compliance. So I will turn it to Dana now to give you some highlights.
Good morning, committee. I thank you for the opportunity to come before you today to talk about the work EKU has done. Chair Rawlings, Co-Chair Riley, Co-Chair Banta, thank you. You have our written submission on behalf of EKU. I certainly would like to highlight that at its May board meeting, our board adopted a resolution in compliance with House Bill 4 and to confirm its expectation for ongoing compliance with House Bill 4. And then certainly want to highlight our board's institutional neutrality policy, which Chair Rawlings has mentioned. Happy to take questions from this group.
All right. Thank you for being brief. And we ask that everyone don't have to be that brief, but to be brief. So any questions? Okay, we're good to go. We'll go with the next group. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to follow through on the list. Kentucky Community and Technical College System. All right, you can go ahead.
Good morning, Jessica Stegall, General Counsel for Kentucky Community and Technical College System.
And I'm Todd Kilburn, Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer for KCTCS.
Thank you, Chairman Rawlings, Co-Chair Banta, and Co-Chair Riley for having us here today. As you all are aware, KCTCS is an open access institution, and our mission is to enhance the quality of life and economic vitality of the Commonwealth by serving as the primary provider of college and career readiness, transfer education, workforce education, and employment training. With the passage of House Bill 4, KCTCS has taken multiple steps to achieve compliance. We have reviewed and made appropriate changes to college and system programs, activities, events, sponsorships, courses, units, personnel, reviewed and updated web pages for all 16 colleges in the system office, and reviewed and made appropriate changes to scholarship criteria. In addition, the KCTCS Board of Regents unanimously adopted the following at its June 12th through 13th board meeting. As Chair Rawlings referenced, we adopted an institutional neutrality policy which protects staff and students' First Amendment rights and refers to the KCTCS Campus Free Speech Policy and states that the institution will not issue a statement on political or societal matters unless they directly affect the mission of KCTCS and will not discriminate on the basis of political or social viewpoint. They updated Board of Regents Policy 4.12 to remove the cultural competency course requirement for students seeking an Associate of Arts, an Associate of Science, or Associate of Fine Arts degree, updated admission statements for 3 colleges, West Kentucky Community and Technical College, Jefferson Community and Technical College, and Hazard Community and Technical College, updated the KCTCS strategic plan and values, and adopted a resolution that as of the date of the June 12th through 13th board meeting, the KCTCS Board of Regents had been educated on House Bill 4, had been advised of the steps that we had taken to achieve compliance, and had certified compliance with House Bill 4 as of that date. Efforts related to continued compliance have been delegated to the KCTCS System President, Dr. Ryan Quarles, and myself as General Counsel. All of the materials regarding the board actions were provided with our packet of information for you all today. In addition, we have worked closely with the 16 college presidents and peer teams across the system to provide education on House Bill 4 as well as compliance requirements. As a part of our effort to maintain compliance, we will continue those education efforts this fall. With regards to personnel, programs, and departments, no personnel were eliminated. 1 person retired and the vacant position was eliminated. Existing personnel with some or all DEI-related responsibilities were reassigned or reclassified to roles that serve all students. Offices and departments with DEI-related responsibilities have closed. Institutional sponsorships of DEI-related community and industry programs and/or conferences have ended. KCTCS is not fundraising for private scholarships with DEI-related criteria, and system, college, and foundation staff are actively working with donors to broaden any pre-existing scholarship criteria to be based on academic merit, financial need, or other non-identity-based criteria. As a part of this process, scholarships otherwise grandfathered in under HB 4 have paused. At this time, I'll turn the remainder of our presentation over to my colleague, Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer Todd Kilburn, who will comment on the fiscal implications of our compliance with House Bill 4.
Thank you, Jessica. To date, any savings that have been achieved as a result of our compliance with House Bill 4 were reinvested to meet other needs. While changes have been made to personnel and offices with DEI-related responsibilities and activities, While changes have been made to personnel and offices with DEI-related responsibilities and activities, cost savings that may have been realized as a result were reallocated. For example, resources formerly directed to DEI-specific functions were redirected toward general student success initiatives and services and have been consolidated under broad-based student support departments, ensuring that all students have access to resources that promote student engagement and success. I want to be clear, this does not mean we shifted funds to renamed or rebranded departments doing the same thing. Realized cost savings were reallocated to programs that serve all students or support other operational or mission-related activities for KCTCS. Mr. Chair, this concludes our report, and we're happy to stand for any questions you may have.
All right, do we have any questions? Representative Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for your testimony. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the thought that you're redirecting those dollars. Could you give us an idea on how much money that is that has been redirected to other needs?
Primarily, it was approximately $2.5 million. It was basically 2.5% of our total overall budget was reallocated.
Could I ask a follow-up to clarify?
Yes, sir.
Is that $2.5 million per year? Is that
Yes,
what,
correct.
Thank
Across
you
the
very
system.
much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Okay, any others? I spoke with Dr. Quarles yesterday, and he said that it sounded like the transition was pretty seamless with prior to House Bill 4. Is that correct? You didn't have to adjust that much after the bill was passed?
That is correct. We were largely in compliance with House Bill 4 before the bill's passage.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What do we have next? All right. Morehead is next. Please come forward.
I'm sorry, it's KSU.
Oh, KSU. You steered me wrong there. KSU is next. Thanks. All right, be sure to hit your microphones and go ahead.
Good morning, co-chairs and distinguished members of this committee. My name is Zach Atwell, and I have the privilege of serving as General Counsel for Kentucky State University. I am joined today by our president, Dr. Kofi Siakapo, and key members of his leadership team, Provost Dr. Michael Daly, Vice President of Institutional Advancement and External Relations, Mr. Michael DeCourcy, and Vice President of Information Technology and Chief of Staff, Dr. Wendy Dixie. We are here today to report on the comprehensive measures Kentucky State University has undertaken to ensure full and proactive compliance with House Bill 4, now codified as KRS 164-2894. We understand the intent and the letter of this law, and we have approached its implementation with the diligence and seriousness it requires. For over a century, Kentucky State University has served this Commonwealth by providing access to a quality education, fostering critical thinking, and preparing students for a lifetime of success. Our commitment to our mission and to our students is unwavering. KSU was founded in response to discrimination, so it will never enable or promote discrimination of any kind, whether on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, political belief, or social belief. It is through the lens of this enduring mission to educate and empower anyone who wishes to learn and serve that we have addressed the requirements of this new legislation. Immediately following the enactment of House Bill 4, KSU took decisive and comprehensive action. I provided our senior administrators with clear guidance to ensure a unified and consistent approach to compliance across the institution. I want to emphasize a critical point. Kentucky State University was ahead of the curve in many respects. Our DEI offices and their associated positions were dissolved prior to the passage of House Bill 4. KSU terminated its last DEI officer position in 2021. Consequently, all DEI-specific training for faculty, staff, and students has been permanently discontinued. While we continue to provide mandatory training on civil rights, our trainers are explicitly instructed not to promote DEI initiatives and to focus solely on compliance with federal and state law. To ensure compliance at every level, our Human Resources Department conducted a thorough audit of all job descriptions to identify and revise any DEI-adjacent language. Affected employees were notified of these changes and directed to cease any and all DEI-related activities. Simultaneously, our academic and student affairs personnel began an internal audit of all KSU programs to identify and address any activities that could be construed as promoting discriminatory concepts or indoctrination. Likewise, our advancement staff audited all donor agreements to identify any that require consideration of an applicant's religion, race, sex, color, or national origin. Our actions extended deeply into the fabric of our university's governance. All KSU policies have undergone a comprehensive review and revision to remove any language that could result in preferential treatment based on the characteristics outlined in this law. A cornerstone of our compliance strategy was the formal adoption of a viewpoint neutrality policy, which was unanimously approved by the KSU Board of Regents on June 27, 2025. This commitment to viewpoint neutrality is not new for us. In fact, our non-discrimination policy was amended back in August of 2024 to include an explicit prohibition on discrimination or adverse treatment on the basis of an individual's political or social beliefs. I've included a few examples of revised policy language. Our revised gift acceptance policy now explicitly forbids the university from accepting any gift or bequest that would require differential treatment or that is designated for a DEI initiative. Our equal opportunity and non-discrimination policy has been updated to reinforce that merit, qualifications, and performance are the primary factors in all employment and educational decisions. It now explicitly includes a commitment to viewpoint neutrality. Most importantly, the viewpoint neutrality policy itself commits KSU to institutional neutrality on political and social issues, ensuring our campus remains an open forum for intellectual exploration, not an advocate for specific ideologies. It expressly prohibits ideological litmus tests in hiring, admissions, and all other university functions, protecting the rights of every individual to express their personal views. Our compliance efforts are not a one-time event. They are an ongoing commitment. Our advancement staff will be meeting with private donors to encourage amendments to existing agreements to ensure they align with the law. We have also planned ongoing training for all departments on our revised policies to ensure these principles are woven into our daily operations. Our website is being reviewed to archive or update any content that is not in compliance with House Bill 4. We will also continue to audit our programs and job descriptions regularly. Finally, KSU will administer the Council on Post-Secondary Education's Intellectual Freedom and Viewpoint Diversity surveys by the November 1st deadline. So where does this leave us today? As of July 7th, Kentucky State University has achieved substantial compliance with the core requirements of House Bill 4. Our ongoing work is focused on ensuring the spirit of our new policies is fully integrated into our campus culture and on establishing robust internal monitoring processes to ensure sustained compliance. We anticipate achieving full operational integration by August 1st. I want to be perfectly clear on the personnel impact of this transition. No faculty or personnel have been terminated as a direct result of KSU's compliance with House Bill 4. As noted, DEI-specific offices were eliminated prior to the bill's passage. For other roles, our focus has been on revising job descriptions and clarifying duties to align with the law, not on eliminating positions. Similarly, no academic programs or departments have been closed as a direct result of House Bill 4. KSU remains dedicated to its comprehensive academic offerings. Programs are being reviewed and adapted to ensure alignment with viewpoint neutrality, and we can affirm that no KSU degree program requires any student to enroll in a course dedicated to the promotion of a discriminatory concept. Regarding fiscal impact, KSU has not achieved new savings as a result of this bill. Because we eliminated our DEI offices and ceased hiring external DEI consultants years ago, there were no dedicated budgets to cut. However, we do anticipate potential future savings as we will no longer expend university funds for employees to attend conferences that include DEI-related training, unless a specific exemption under the law applies. A key objective of House Bill 4 is to ensure that DEI-related measures do not simply continue under a different name. We can assure this committee that such activities are not occurring at Kentucky State University. Our focus is, and always has been, on fostering a welcoming environment for all. We are reinforcing our commitment to intellectual diversity and the robust exchange of ideas through our core academic admission. Our recruitment efforts continue to attract a broad range of talented individuals by prioritizing merit, qualifications, and unique perspectives, while strictly adhering to the law's prohibition on preferential treatment. All continuing and newly developed initiatives are being rigorously reviewed to ensure they align with both the letter and the spirit of House Bill 4. In conclusion, Kentucky State University has undertaken proactive, comprehensive, and good faith steps to comply with House Bill 4. We have done so while remaining true to our core values of academic freedom, intellectual diversity, and equal opportunity for every member of our community. We will continue to monitor the legislative landscape and adapt as necessary, always upholding our mission to provide an excellent and enriching educational opportunity for all Kentuckians. Thank you for your time and attention. We are now happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, very, very good. Representative Tipton, Chair Tipton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate you all being here today. One of the parts of House Bill 4 that really wasn't talked about a lot, there was a section of statute in KRS 164.020. Memory serves me, I'm thinking like subsection 19, required CPE to evaluate each university or college based on diversity. There was a penalty involved that a school could not start any new academic programs unless they received a waiver. It's my understanding that KSU actually recently received one of those findings, and if memory serves me right from my discussions, it was based on Latino students. And of course, I know KSU's a HBCU. What efforts are you all making to reach out to other ethnicities across the Commonwealth of Kentucky?
Well, thank you, Representative Tipton, Chair Tipton, for that question. I think our efforts are, as Mr. Atwell stated, our intentional effort is to go out and find as many students as we can that are interested in continuing education. We've also done that among our adult community. You referenced that yesterday, that there are over 600,000. So we actually opened up an office of government relations and adult learning so that we can do that. The specific finding, I think, as addressed under the diversity, if it's my understanding, may not have been specific to Latino students, but it was effort that we did not meet a certain quotient of diversity. So going forward, we really have not made any efforts for specific populations, but what we continue to do is open our opportunities up to all students. Dr. Akapo and I have traveled to every region of this state, to high schools, our friends at KCTCS, and even surrounding states, contiguous states, so we can do that, just that. So our efforts are not pinpointing, but we recognize that everybody who is a citizen within the Commonwealth deserves a rigorous experience in learning, and we want to be part of that.
If I could follow up, Mr. Chair, just a brief comment.
Yes.
I had heard from other institutions as well about that provision. I think the important thing is it's no longer in the law, because certain universities, certain colleges have certain demographics in their service area. They just make it very difficult to meet those guidelines, and it seemed kind of disingenuous to penalize a university or school for that. So that is no longer part of the law, and appreciate your continued efforts.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Would you detail how you restructured your workforce? Are you able to do that on statement you made? DEI offices and positions at KSU were dissolved prior to the passage of House Bill 4. Could you elaborate on that for us?
Do you want to take that, Mr. DeQuist?
That was 2021.
So it was in 2021, our chief diversity officer left the institution.
Okay.
And since then, we have never filled that office. We have no intent of filling that office. As Attorney Atwell said, we were founded by discrimination as an institution. Therefore, we will never discriminate. Didn't make sense to have that. We had a new administration come in, interim president, acting president, sitting next to me, and a permanent president. So, again, there was no reason to fill that position again, and we can't speak to why they ever had that position previously. So.
Okay. All right. All right. Thanks so much for your presentation. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Morehead. Now we got Morehead State coming up. Good to see you again.
Thank you,
Good to
sir.
see you.
Thank you, co-chairs and interim committee members. You okay to proceed?
Yes, you can proceed.
Thank you. My name is Jay Morgan. I serve as president of Morehead State University, and it's a pleasure to present to you today. As a very quick summary, and as many of you know from prior testimony, Morehead State University did not have a DEI office before House Bill 4, and we believe that we are in compliance with House Bill 4 currently. Our board did take this opportunity at their last meeting in June to amend our non-discrimination statement to include aspects around House Bill 4 and include social and political viewpoint, and to also show commitment to intellectual diversity and emphasize viewpoint neutrality. We also did insert a condemnation of religious and ethnic discrimination and including discriminatory acts based on anti-Semitism, which were themed and spirited within SJR 55, Senator, back in the spring. I will say that I believe our university has been in compliance and will continue to be in compliance. And as many of you know, Morehead State University has over 50% of our students are low-income students, and that's where we place the majority of our emphasis. Happy to take any questions that you might have or the committee may have.
All right. Do we have any questions? Okay.
Okay.
That's good.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Morgan. All right. Murray State, Dr. Patterson. You're getting to be a veteran.
Very popular in first 15 days, right?
Yeah, how many times have you testified?
Three.
This is
Yes,
good.
we're having fun. This is good. So
You're
again, thank
jumping
you.
into the fire.
Yes, thank you, co-chairs Rollins, Banta, and Riley for this opportunity to sit before you along with my colleague, Jordan Smith, who's our AVP for Public Affairs. I also have two other colleagues joining me today, Cammie Duffy, who is our Executive Director for Equal Opportunity and Title IX, and our General Counsel, Rob Miller. Just again, very briefly, brevity as it relates to answering the questions and responses. Murray State University has always and will continue to be in compliance with House Bill 4. Just to run through some brief responses to the questions provided, again, which you all have received and reviewed. The university does not provide differential, preferential, presidential, or prejudicial treatment to anyone based on these categories or characteristics. We have carefully reviewed and continue to review our policies, including scholarship criteria, to ensure that the requirements of House Bill 4 are met. Murray State University has been reviewing university expenditures to ensure that, number one, payments are not processed for services, programs, or diversity initiatives that provide differential treatment. And two, training programs, including diversity initiatives that provide, travel expenses are not purchased or provided that are consistent with House Bill 4 as well, incorporating discriminatory concepts in the training curriculum. The university has carefully reviewed the internal practices related to tuition reductions or scholarships to ensure that there is no differential treatment provided based on religion, race, sex, color, or national origin, and has also generally reviewed expenditures related to student programs and groups to ensure compliance with the Act. Our students enjoy an atmosphere of intellectual curiosity where all viewpoints and perspectives are considered and accepted. We, the university's Board of Regents, just recently revised our policy of neutrality to on student, faculty, and staff public speech, which also prohibits discrimination related to political and social viewpoints as well. We have already started changing our non-discrimination posters to educate members of our campus community regarding these new prohibitions, and will continue education efforts in earnest in the fall semester and beyond. The university has been reviewing academic programs, and thanks to our provost, Tim Todd, who's also with us today, ensures that no student is required to enroll in any course with the purpose is to indoctrinate students as defined by House Bill 4. While the several offices on campuses have been renamed to better reflect their responsibilities, the university does not, nor does have, an office or employee whose duties reflect or include providing training that encompass the promotion of discriminatory practices as well and concepts. On June 6, 2025, the Board of Regents adopted a statement of compliance of House Bill 4 and also pledged to address in a timely manner any issues of noncompliance that may arise now again in the coming days, weeks, and months ahead throughout the academic semester. And then lastly, the President's Executive Council has addressed House Bill 4 throughout the entire spring semester with individual meetings held across various campuses' offices regarding compliance with the new statute as well. Again, we serve a very high percentage of first-generation low-income, marginalized students. And so our support services, I believe, at Morehead State University are second to none, and we'll continue to support those students with our support efforts and support services through our faculty and staff to ensure that they graduate in a timely manner. This concludes our presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions if there are any at this time.
All right, do we have any questions? Dr. Patterson, I did see a quote that was a little concerning, and it was you quoted in the paper saying DEI is going to look different, but we continue to provide those support services. It's just going to be done in a different way.
Well, just to my statement I just made, our institution has been there for 103 years of providing strong support student services to the western portion of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and we'll continue again to uphold and enhance their efforts, their student experience, to support their success. And that's what that statement means.
Okay. All right.
Thank you for bringing
very
that
good.
up.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming. All right. We'll move on then to the next round. Northern Kentucky University, come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Co-Chair. My name is Grant Garber. I am the General Counsel of Northern Kentucky University here on behalf of our President, Katie Short-Thompson, and my other colleagues. I am here to tell you that NKU takes the requirements of House Bill 4 very seriously. We have made the adjustments that have been necessary to bring the institution into compliance, and we will continue to do so going forward as that's necessary. The most significant change our institution made in this space actually occurred before introduction of House Bill 4. In August of 2024, we dissolved our diversity office and eliminated the position of Chief Diversity Officer. And that's where the substantial amount of the savings, which are indicated in our submission, were achieved. Since the enactment of House Bill 4, we've also taken other measures necessary to bring the institution into compliance, mostly in the space of reviewing our programs and events, scholarships, dissolving certain employee affinity groups. Last month, our board adopted a statement on intellectual diversity and viewpoint neutrality, where we committed the institution to a robust exchange of ideas and a culture in which our faculty and students critique theories and test assumptions, challenge the unexamined, produce creative works, and welcome thoughtful dissent, all in the interest of and in service of our shared search for truth and new knowledge. We have also completed our review of approximately 2,000 courses to be offered during this current summer term and to be offered this coming fall to ensure that all of those courses are also in compliance with House Bill 4. Going forward, NKU will continue to meet the ongoing obligations of this statute. We understand that securing and maintaining public trust and confidence in our institution is essential to our ability to continue to be open to all students from across the Commonwealth, and we will continue to do that. That concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions.
I had a question on your North Center for Belonging. Would you please assure us that it's not just a rebranding and repurposing of the DEI efforts in the past?
Yeah, I can certainly give that assurance. The focus of the North Center for Belonging is going to be on first-generation students and on commuter students. So NKU can be, I think, is somewhat unique in the fact that a large portion of our students are commuter students. By their nature of their interaction with the school, they unfortunately can tend to have fewer connections and feel sort of fewer relationship with the school. And so that's going to be one of the big focuses of that center, to fill a need that we think there's an opportunity to fill.
Good. Do we have any other questions? All right. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank
you. UK. So we've got University of Kentucky is next. All right, proceed.
Sounds good. Good morning. Good morning, Chair Rawlings and members of the subcommittee. I'm Bob DePaula. I serve as provost and Executive or Co-Executive Vice President for Health Affairs at the University of Kentucky, and we appreciate the opportunity to provide our institution's update in terms of compliance with House Bill 4. Before I begin, I just want to briefly underscore the scale and scope of UK's mission, which is relevant. We are Kentucky's land-grant institution serving nearly 36,000 students, conducting more than $500 million in annual research, much of which is focused on the state's most pressing challenges and operating the Commonwealth's largest academic medical center. As you know, we deliver advanced subspecialty care to all Kentuckians from 120 counties, so no patient needs to leave the state for the most advanced care. And we understand that deep responsibility that comes with that reach. And that responsibility to you as policymakers and the people's representatives to do more and be more for the state we are created to serve. That is why we're here today. I appreciate the opportunity to discuss with you how we are implementing the direction you have given us in House Bill 4. As President Capilouto testified last year, we are committed as an institution to listening and responding to the concerns of policymakers and our own community. Indeed, in August of 2024, months before the legislative session even began, and based on conversations with many of you and dozens of people across the campus, President Capilouto directed a series of immediate changes, and I'll highlight some of that. That's how strong our commitment was then to being responsive, and it remains so now. In summary, the university, at the President Capilouto's direction in August of 24, moved to disband the Office of Institutional Diversity. Programs formerly housed in this office were either discontinued or revised to make clear that the services and resources are available to all students and employees in ways consistent with the law. No longer place diversity statements in hiring and application processes, no longer mandate any diversity training centrally or at a college or unit level, and to take a position, a clear position, of institutional neutrality with respect to current events. These changes were on top of a process initiated the prior summer following the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard, in which the university moved to no longer consider race as a factor in either admissions or scholarships. Scholarship and admission applications were changed. We are working with donors with respect to privately funded scholarships to make sure those changes occur as well. Moreover, since these moves, we've undertaken a comprehensive institutional review, including policies, job descriptions, unit operations, public materials, and programming in support of our commitment to ongoing compliance with federal and state laws. It is a topic that I and others revisit frequently with our campus leadership to underscore our commitment. In recent months, we have issued statewide compliance guidance to ensure university resources are not used for DEI events or identity-based activities. For example, identity-based graduation celebrations have been discontinued, and university employees no longer are permitted to host or attend DEI or identity-based trainings or events, as we believe those are prohibited under federal law and directives. And we are continuing to make administrative updates, such as website corrections, as we see any issues, and those are ongoing. By way of example of the scope of this undertaking, in our initial review of websites, we pulled some 80,000 sites for review. That was at the start of the process. Our efforts have continued and expanded since then. And when we know about something or alerted to it, we move quickly to make changes to ensure compliance. Some final points in response to some of the specific questions to which we submitted information in preparation for this meeting today. No personnel were terminated as a result of these changes. However, all roles that previously included DEI-related titles or job responsibilities were reassigned or adjusted beginning last fall. It is important to note that some, or approximately 2,000 jobs are open on any given day at the institution with an employee base of nearly 30,000. While the university has not tracked exact savings in a formal way, We've made material changes in how resources are allocated. As I mentioned, scholarships no longer use race as a factor. Contracts and membership agreements with DEI-related organizations have been terminated. Again, university funds no longer used to participate in DEI-related events. I mentioned a moment ago that we have approximately 2,000 job opportunities at any given day. Given the need for recruitment of many non-DEI-related jobs, we are able to move some of the positions in question into new, needed positions, saving the cost of additional recruitment while retaining valuable people. And finally, we've not continued DEI measures under different names. Programming and communication activities are continually reviewed and, where warranted, revised in an effort to comply. Our commitment is clear: to uphold the law and to do so in a way that strengthens our ability to serve all the people of Kentucky. Whether in a classroom, the clinic, the research lab, we are focused on ensuring Kentucky tomorrow that is healthier, wealthier, and wiser than it is today, and we take deep pride in that mission, a 160-year-old promise to the state we were created to serve. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. We've got a question from Senator West.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Over here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for that testimony, and thank you for UK's efforts in this initiative. Could you refresh my memory on Dr. Capelouto in UK set up a separate office? I think it was community relations or something. Could you refresh my memory on the name of that new office?
Yeah, the office was set up to focus on community and engagement efforts. So the name includes community.
Gotcha.
And totally a different set of roles and responsibilities.
Do you happen to know how much UK was spending on DEI per year prior?
Yeah, I'd have to check on the exact number, but for example, we spent millions in scholarships that are now repurposed. And as I mentioned a moment ago as well, given the number of positions that we have, we've repurposed those positions as well.
Okay, I'm gonna drill down just a second. And I'll finish up pretty quickly.
Yes, go ahead.
So with the data we had, I think UK was spending approximately $5 million. That's just payroll for DEI-related positions, and so I think the head of DEI UK was making about $377,000 a year, and that person now has been moved. So, do you know what that person is doing currently and what role they're in, and is that what's happened there? I guess is.
Yeah, I mean the roles have totally changed in terms of roles and initiatives that we need for the institution as a whole. We could check on the specifics and get that back to you, though.
Okay, it'd be nice for me to know because at that kind of price tag, we want to know that the taxpayer dollars are being well spent, student dollars are being well spent, and just I guess I would request a little bit more detail in those types of things. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Understand. Thank you.
Okay, Representative Baker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Dr. DePaul, for your testimony. While we're sitting here, I'm just going through your website, looking at a few things, trying to see, the lay of the land. And as Chair West talked about, we are responsible as stewards of the taxpayer dollars. Looking at, just very quickly, gender and women's studies, some of these courses that are offered, Gender Across the World, Crossroads in GWS, Inequalities Under the Law. It starts out here, the 14th Amendment of the Constitution guarantees equal protection under the laws, but as Black Lives Matter and other protest movements indicate, this promise remains unfulfilled. Do you still offer, there's a number of other courses I could, and you may or may not be familiar with them. Are those courses still offered at the university?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to take a look at the specifics in terms of the courses you just described, whether they're still offered or not, but they may be on the website. I do know that that we have continued to monitor the websites, and there are some things that we're needing to fix on a regular basis in terms of the website. But in terms of the detail, we can check on that.
Could you check on that and let
Sure.
us know if those are still offered, and let us help us understand the value of those and why the taxpayer dollars should be expended on those things.
Sounds good. Will do.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions? I wanted to bring up a topic on diversity fees. So UK had been collecting a diversity fee from students as part of their tuition. There's a Supreme Court case, Board of Regents of the University of Wisconsin versus Southworth, that says that student fees must be allocated in a viewpoint neutral manner. I looked at, I was provided some charts on UK. There was a balance of over $1 million collected from those diversity fees. Now that's following the 2022-23 school year. So in light of the current legal framework and given the substantial surplus, how was this fee applied and spent?
Yeah, so I can answer that. We don't have any student diversity fee any longer, and the dollars have totally been transitioned to workforce and career development initiatives for those students. So workforce and career development initiatives. Not any longer a diversity fee.
Now it looks like there's a community fee. Is that right? Is that what was the diversity fee?
I'd have to take a look, Senator Rollins.
And there's a career prep fee too. Just wondered how that related.
That may be within the workforce and career development, but we'll check to be sure.
But yeah, I'd like to know that $1 million surplus, where that went exactly. I'd like more detail on that.
Okay.
If you would. And has UK adopted an institutional and viewpoint neutrality policy like the other universities that we've heard from?
We have, and it includes really a number of the components that I highlighted in the presentation. It is on our website as well.
All right. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
All right. University of Louisville is next up. All right, you may proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Rawlings, Co-Chair Riley, Co-Chair Banta, for the opportunity to speak with you all today. To the distinguished members of this committee, I am Katie Cardarelli, Interim University Provost and Chief Academic Officer for the University of Louisville. As Provost, I oversee the academic operations of the institution. Joining me today is Angela Curry, Executive Vice President for Legal Governance and External Relations and Chief Legal Counsel for the university. From the moment that House Bill 4 became law, President Jerry Bradley and the entire executive leadership team committed to ensuring that the university would be compliant by the deadline set by the legislature of June 30th. From the beginning, President Bradley and I affirmed UofL's compliance across the university community. Recognizing the needs of our students, faculty, and staff, we worked closely with the university's chief academic officers to develop a sustainable plan. To that end, the Office of the Provost and the Office of University Counsel partnered to lead a day-long legislative guidance retreat where we provided training and guidance to more than 70 university leaders, including deans, vice presidents, and other key leaders, regarding the new HB4 requirements. Additionally, President Bradley established 4 work groups focused on key compliance areas: position analysis, policy analysis, admissions, financial aid and scholarships, and athletics. Each work group included a broad cross-section of university stakeholders, including representatives from the Student Government Association, the Faculty Senate, and the Staff Senate. Each work group had an assigned legal representative to provide legal counsel. Executive Vice President Curry and I spent multiple days reviewing each and every legal recommendation from these work groups before recommending approval to President Bradley. Once approved, these recommendations were implemented across university departments to ensure that approved compliance tasks were completed by the June 30th deadline. The university's commitment to full compliance also extended to our Board of Trustees. Recognizing that certain changes would require board approval, the acting board chair appointed trustees to serve on an ad hoc HB4 implementation committee to provide board input in implementing new requirements, and to make comprehensive recommendations to the full board to ensure that the university met the legislative compliance deadline of June 30th. Finally, as Chief Academic Officer for the university, I am pleased to report that at every turn of this implementation process, the university made every effort to ensure that the principles of shared governance were observed and embraced. Let me be clear. We believe that we have achieved full compliance with the requirements of House Bill 4. Having said that, the University of Louisville is a large, complex R1 institution with 25,000 students and over 7,000 faculty and staff members. Because of our size and complexity, compliance with any federal or state requirement is an ongoing, dynamic process as new questions are raised and new scenarios are presented. We are committed to ongoing compliance and to resolving any questions or clarifications as they emerge. With regard to whether any faculty or personnel may have been terminated or reassigned, our goal was always to retain all employees. While certain positions did require restructuring and realignment to make absolutely sure that there would be no misunderstanding about our commitment to compliance, we were grateful that no employee was terminated as a result of HB 4 implementation. While no departments or academic programs were closed, some units were realigned to serve the broader university mission of student success. At UofL, that means success for all of our students, no matter their background or beliefs. For example, the Commission on the Status of Women and the Commission on Diversity and Racial Equity were dissolved, and stakeholders will be invited to serve on the new Presidential Commission on Climate, Culture, and Well-Being. This new commission is dedicated to cultivating a safe, respectful, and inclusive university environment. Additionally, the Office of Institutional Equity was moved under the Office of the Provost. Now named the Office of Access and Opportunity, this unit will include the Center for Military Connected Students, the Disability Resource Center, and other resource centers aimed at supporting success for all university students. This realignment includes $3.7 million of university funds now focusing on supporting student success for all students. While no explicit cost savings were achieved with these realignments, we will now redirect scholarship funds in the amount of nearly $2 million that were previously earmarked for students based on a protected class such as race or gender. This will allow us to focus those funds to unmet financial need, which we know is the #1 barrier to student success. Lastly, recognizing that compliance is an ongoing, dynamic process, the university hired additional legal counsel, including a regulatory counsel role, that is fully committed to training units and departments on House Bill 4 requirements and assuring ongoing compliance as we carry out the university's mission. In conclusion, thank you, Senator Rawlings and members of the Interim Joint Budget Review Subcommittee on Education for the opportunity to share the University of Louisville's efforts to comply with House Bill 4 and for your continued commitment to Kentucky's public post-secondary institutions. We appreciate your time today, and we're happy to take questions.
All right, do we have any questions? Well, I mentioned earlier I was a little disappointed to see that you'd actually created positions. I think in a business sense, when a division isn't doing well, you cut them and they're gone. But instead, you've added positions because of House Bill 4. It looks like. Would you elaborate on that?
Certainly. So I'll let my colleague Angela speak to the council that we've added, but let me just briefly mention that student success is at the center of all that we do at the University of Louisville. So redirecting the $3.7 million that was previously in the Office of Institutional Equity to focus on the broader mission of student success, we think is strategic and timely to build on the momentum that you heard President Bradley speak about yesterday, our improvement in retention and graduation rates. But I'll let my colleagues speak about the additional counsel.
Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. So from the beginning, as Dr. Cardarelli noted in her opening remarks, we took compliance with this new law very seriously. During the implementation phase, we found that several members of the Office of University Counsel were spending approximately half of their time over the 2-month implementation period reviewing job descriptions, analyzing policies, editing gift agreements, and answering many, many questions from community stakeholders. It's important to note that each one of these attorneys leads practice groups and has a full roster of legal responsibilities already in place at the university. Recognizing that compliance is an ongoing responsibility, we wanted to make sure that we had an attorney squarely positioned to answer any questions, scenarios, or other ongoing compliance concerns that would come up to assume that the university had ongoing compliance. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. Anything else? All right, thank you for your presentation. Western Kentucky University, please come forward and you can proceed when you're ready.
Good morning. I'm Jennifer Smith, Assistant Vice President of Government and External Relations.
Good morning. I'm Andrea Anderson, General Counsel at Western Kentucky University. Thank you, Chairs Rawlings, Co-Chairs Banta and Riley, and members of the Budget Review Subcommittee on Education for this opportunity to present today on the university's compliance efforts with House Bill 4. Since House Bill 4 was passed, the university has worked diligently to review our policies and programs, scholarships, academic courses, job descriptions, and communications, and we believe that we have achieved compliance in all material aspects. The university recognizes, however, that compliance is an ongoing commitment, and so our work continues. In June, WKU's Board of Regents affirmed that commitment to our continual compliance efforts through passage of a resolution and an institutional viewpoint neutrality policy. This formally establishes the university's commitment to viewpoint neutrality in the administration of institutional resources and programs, encouraging a diversity of perspectives and affirming the value of academic freedom. The university is committed to meeting all of our obligations as to House Bill 4, including the annual certified reports, administering the Intellectual Freedom and Viewpoint Diversity Survey, and reporting on the results of that survey. As to other measures we've taken to achieve compliance, please consider the following. The university's provost formed a committee to evaluate courses. This committee is comprised of representation from each of our academic colleges, and they're looking at both general education and major programs. They're examining syllabi and sampling course content to ensure that alternate viewpoints are presented along with dominant perspectives, that course material reflects a broad range of ideological perspectives, and that assessments do not require adoption of specific viewpoints. Some of this language is echoed in the faculty handbook. The university no longer supports DEI-related training or conferences, and this has resulted in a cost savings of about $13,000 annually. Development is underway at WKU Center for Innovative Teaching and Learning for a series of trainings for faculty, which will help them engage in discussions in the classroom that reflect a wide range of viewpoints. Compliance guidance has been provided to cabinet and senior leadership. The university's IT department completed an audit of the university's website, and the university has made every effort to remove or update outdated web pages. The university's communication team has undertaken a critical review of the strategic communication plan for social media and other platforms. All non-compliant student programming and activities will no longer be offered by the university. This work to achieve compliance has been completed thoughtfully, and that same measure of care will be exercised as this work continues. Our primary goal remains the same, and that's to ensure that every student who enrolls succeeds and ultimately graduates. And we will do so while maintaining compliance with House Bill 4. So thank you for your time today, and I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Okay, very good. Do we have any questions? No questions? All right. Thank you for your presentation. Appreciate it. Next, Michael Frazier is going to share with us. He's representing the Kentucky Student Rights Coalition. All right, you may proceed.
Chair Rawlings, co-chairs, and members of this distinguished committee, thank you. My name is Michael Frazier, and I'm the executive director of the Kentucky Student Rights Coalition. For the past 10 years, starting as an organization exclusively at the University of Kentucky, we are dedicated to be actively nonpartisan, to bring students together, to help students and advocate for students to speak freely, express freely, think freely, teach freely, and to be free on college campuses, and also to have access with accountability in higher education here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Our partners include the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, which is America's largest First Amendment firm, Goldwater Institute, which you will have seen them testify with us, and a host of other national partners to bring resources to Kentucky students to promote civic education, civic and responsibility, and promote student rights here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. I thank you all for giving me the opportunity to speak today because there are 3 themes within HB 4. 1, to ensure that the First Amendment is complied with, that students can speak freely, think freely, and express freely, accountability, and access. So one thing to consider is sort of the state. I want to tell you where we were at, what happened, and then give some ideas of how we move forward with HB 4, including further recommendations from a budgetary perspective. And so the themes will not really go into a deep dive of HB 4, but how we can go into what's next for higher education, regardless if you agree or disagree with the bill, to find shared grounds on points of how we can move forward. So, for example, in a survey by the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, 70% of Kentucky faculty said that they could not express their opinion or felt that they couldn't. 65% of University of Kentucky students said they would be somewhat very uncomfortable publicly disagreeing with the professor. And then 42% of University of Kentucky students said it is never okay to shut down a speaker to prevent them from speaking. So some good news and some troubling news. And here in education, we also know the statistics that we have a decline in FAFSA enrollees. We also have a decline in Kentucky students, particularly when it comes to low income, and then also across the region. We do see higher education stagnation within overall enrollment and some improvements and some needed improvements in the last 2 years within low income all around. But our focus is within low income Kentucky students. So when we look at the first component of HB 4, we have some good news today. And we also have some disabusing of some myths. The good news here today is that all universities and the Commonwealth of Kentucky is the first state in the nation to adopt viewpoint neutrality in every public school in Kentucky. That's great because that promotes academic freedom, that ensures that professors can speak freely and students feel comfortable to disagree, to argue, and to engage in important issues today on our university's campus. And we also heard today, and also seen in what was supplied in written testimony, that no courses were cut here in Kentucky, and no positions were dissolved. Resource centers were kept here in Kentucky. And that's good news, too, because of our demographics here. So when you look at the components of HB 4, what is true, what has been true and proven here today is that we're promoting free speech on college campuses. And that's great here. And I'm glad to see it, including courses that we may disagree with. So I'm glad to see that today. So some improvements that we saw from the themes of HB 4, getting to transparency and accountability, is that we still have some work within data and reporting based upon the higher education. This Council on Post-Secondary Education, especially in the components aligned with 13 KAR 2.160, essentially the components of resource centers and how we're helping the marginalized students and low-income students, we need to be better at reporting and differentiating between residential status so that you all can aptly make decisions on how we fund Kentucky's low-income students. We know that low-income students, and why we're focused here is because those students are disproportionately impacted by rural and also marginalized status here in Kentucky. So that's the reason why we're honing in and including on first generation. Dr. Aaron Thompson, and some great news today, have made great strides, especially under SB 191, which was passed underneath last legislative session. and to help low-income students and first generation. But there's still strides that we have to make here. And I think that for you all to get a clear picture of the data and how to move forward, ensuring that we're appropriating appropriate resources to resource centers and funding, that there does need to be that bifurcation within residential status and how we're actually helping Kentucky students with Kentucky taxpayer money. The second thing that I want to throw out is that there probably needs a re-examination of performance funding, especially with some of the components of House Bill 4. So instead of funding based upon a production model, we probably need to look at our university and say, how are you helping our most marginalized and low-income students? Because that was something that was learned from HB4, is that the current system really wasn't working, right? So I would also recommend to this body to re-examine performance funding and also how we're encouraging our universities to take some of Kentucky's low-income students. And I would also say that within reporting metrics, upon contracts, especially with DEI positions, one thing that we learned is that the universities do have a habit with an inconsistency upon procurement codes and reporting processes, and including on foundations and endowments, which some of the testimony that we heard yesterday is we've seen a need for it. So one recommendation that we also have, so as a product of HB4, is to have greater transparency with our universities in reporting processes for contracts, endowments, and procurement codes to promote that public transparency. So those are the things that we have seen within come out as a product of HB4, but some shared ground of how we can improve overall in higher education. And so those are our recommendations, and some good news that we wanted to share today based upon this bill, and keeping succinct. That's all I have, and I'm welcoming any questions.
Representative Banta.
Mr. Frazier, in your colleague's opinion, does the new system help and work for kids? Have we had time to watch it expand and work, or what is the conversation?
I'm happy you asked that. We're getting better. So the new system is dedicating more resources, including SB 191, as mentioned, and new metrics and performance funding to include at the highest at this time, the greatest awardment to low-income students. But the issue with the metrics, and again, getting into the bifurcation of the data and how it's presented and the requirements, out of the 6 or 7 metrics in performance funding as established in 13 KR 2.120 for the 4-year universities, only one of those metrics is Kentucky specific. So this has essentially allowed the universities to game the system with out-of-state students. So when we talk about the number as to why we have lost so many low-income students, which again disproportionately impacts marginalized and rural students, Kentucky's metrics has sort of been backwards. So we are seeing a new adaptation thanks to the leadership of Representative Tipton, Chair West, and Chair Petrie, and also Chair Riley on this as well, to ensure that we have better metrics in funding of Kentucky taxpayer money into Kentucky's most needed students. I would also say that as a word of caution and a word of advice is that we need to watch the scholarships as well. In a March 13, 2023 report by the Council of Post-Secondary Education, it was noted that there were 2 notes on it. The first note is that we do need to watch the scholarships because our scholarships are not going to those with the greatest need. Affordability is the number one issue here in Kentucky, college affordability and cost of attendance. So I would say that there probably needs to be further development on this issue, Representative Banta, so that we can ensure that our scholarships are going to those kids with the greatest need. And there's been great work individually by the individual universities, like the University of Kentucky with their LEAD program, or LEADS program, forgive me, and then also WKU with their Pell Grant recipient fund, and then also EKU with their textbooks fund. So we're seeing the universities pick up, and we're seeing it do better. I will also say that as another prong to look into is that the universities, as reported by a congressional report, that the cost of attendance has not been transparent here in Kentucky, and that's been a national trend. So one recommendation for the committee is perhaps during the biennial budget to ensure that students who are attending higher education know the cost, not just tuition and fees, but also cost of the whole entire picture of the cost of attendance so that they can plan properly. That would be another recommendation I have to get to those goals of affordability here in Kentucky, which does impact diversity.
Senator West.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Frazier, for that
sir.
great presentation. You take this stuff seriously, and you're
Just a bit.
You're the king of deep dives, I guess you'd say, in my opinion. But could you come back to performance-based funding?
Yes, sir.
I'd like your opinion on the record. Could you comment briefly on the square footage component of the performance-based funding formula? Do you think the square footage component helps low-income students overall, or what we used to call URMs? Does it help them, or do you think it hinders them overall, especially in your comprehensive universities that are serving more of a low-income service region?
Absolutely. What started as great intention, I think, and then also in planning, paved a road of we need to reconsider. So with square footage, for those who may know, that performance funding considers quite a few metrics, and one of them is based upon square footage of buildings. So there are two products of that. One, the larger universities have been able to game the system because obviously they have bigger buildings. And then it's also created a waste in our comprehensives because some of them are sitting on empty buildings. But where this disadvantages the universities, particularly the comprehensives, is that we know the comprehensives like Morehead State, EKU, WKU, Murray State, disproportionately by large take Kentucky's most disadvantaged kids, especially in rural Kentucky. In fact, if you compare it to the R1s, we're talking about the difference of 100 per each institution comparatively. So instead of giving money based upon square footage, my recommendation, I would have that money be actually go to the students that have greatest need, including funding those resource centers, not a Tempur-Pedic mattress at the University of Kentucky and extra space.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Frazier.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it. I'd like to share a brief statement in closing. After we've had so many hearings and careful review of all of this, data doesn't lie, and it tells a consistent story. Despite its origins in addressing the injustices highlighted in Brown versus Board of Education, DEI has not delivered measurable benefits for Kentucky students, especially disadvantaged students. What began with good intentions has evolved into a multi-billion-dollar industry, rife with tokenism, lacking clear metrics, and producing no meaningful improvement in student outcomes. We now have evidence, including from NIH studies, that economic background and not race is the strongest predictor of student success. Yet Kentucky has lost more than 30% of its in-state low-income students, losses that the Council on Postsecondary Education notes disproportionately affects both Black and rural students. So it's time for higher education to return to what works: accountability, transparent results, and evidence-based policies. No more veneers and no more evasions. Kentucky's kids deserve real solutions, not ideology or rhetoric. So thank you all. Thank you for keeping things brief and to the point, concise. That's really appreciated. Our next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, August 20th, and will be chaired by Representative Riley. Seeing no further business before the subcommittee, could I get a motion for adjournment?